Hi, Alyssa. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great. And just looking at your backyard is making me feel like I'm on vacation.
I absolutely love being outside, just especially now, I'm from Arizona and I love the hot weather. So
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's funny. I can't seem to get away from the sun, and I wear a hat and everything. And I'm sure we'll get into that part of holistic nutrition. But I attract the sun. But I love the way it feels on my skin. I can't help it.
I know, same, the warmth, the sun, I know. Makes me
Yeah,
feel happy.
it's amazing. Well, ladies and gentlemen out there in our audience, I am so excited to be joined by the Elissa Goodman, who I like to consider, honestly, she's sort of the front runner, frankly, or the forerunner of education on holistic nutrition. So she is, yes, known for her cleanses, and she did write, she is a best-selling author of Cancer Hacks, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But she's a cleanse expert. But I feel like I go to her for basic guidance on anything specifically related to holistic nutrition. So anybody who knows me knows that my first instinct is never to go to the medication. I always try to find something else that's going to help me first. So that's why I'm thrilled to be joined by her, because I've been following her for years, frankly.
Thank you. That's such an honor, and I love that you follow me because Instagram is a little anomaly to me. It's like, what am I doing on Instagram at 61 years old? And
I feel that
sometimes
way
the
at
things I
52.
post, my girlfriends, my daughters are like, oh my God, what are you posting, mom? Like, why are you doing that? So it is a little, it's fun. It's fun to be able to recreate myself, later in my life and find something that I am passionate about. And
Yeah.
I said to you earlier, a little obsessed with.
Well, I feel like our passions become our obsessions, and our obsessions become our passion. But honestly, unless it's hurting you, it's only helping you. But frankly, in this case, so many others, right?
Yes, yeah, it is. And that's what feels so good. I never thought I'd be really guiding and helping and supporting and loving other people and even people I don't even know. It's interesting
Yeah.
when people do my cleanse, sometimes I never meet them. And then all of a sudden one day they'll be like, hey, I did your cleanse. And I'll be like, really? Like, because I try to text with a lot of them, but
Hmm.
sometimes I don't even meet them. And,
Well, I feel like I did, you became quite popular in the Los Angeles area. And I did your cleanse early on. And first of all, I love it. For anybody out there, not only is the
thank
food
you.
delicious, her bars are amazing, and it's super easy to follow. But I did your cleanse very early on. It wasn't until I feel like 3 years in or something, we were both at a wellness event, and I was like, hi, I want to know you. You seem
Yeah.
amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's also so fun, you know,
Yes. Well,
because
that's how you get to know what's working and not working,
right.
right? And I
Totally.
think one of the things about you is that you're amazing at slowing down to actually connect with the person. Because I wasn't sure if you were going to be available because you were one of the keynote speakers.
Yeah.
And so in going up to you, I was like, well, I'll just tell her I did her cleanse, and, I'll probably tell her I'll contact her later for some nutritional advice. But you sat and asked me a million questions.
I think I was trained earlier. I was in sales in my early career. So the questions do see, I'm genuinely interested in people, so
Mhm.
that also comes into play. But I sometimes I ask too many questions, but
No, I
I
love
love
it.
to know, sometimes like by asking questions and when I do Zoom and to have clients, by the end of the session, they're usually telling me what's wrong.
Mhm.
They don't even know, but by me asking and drawing out these things that have gone on in their life, it's so fascinating. At the end of, an hour, they're like, oh my God, now I know why I'm sick. And now I know what I need to do.
Mhm.
And because we all have such amazing intuition. So
Yes. Well, I
tapping in
think
and slowing down and, to the person is kind of critical.
I agree. Well, I think two things, and that's sometimes what doesn't happen in non-holistic healthcare, right? Or traditional healthcare. And so I think in your case, what's amazing is you're kind of, what's reminding is like, you get curious and you really listen.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, how shocking is that?
I know, it's so easy. I mean, it just like, I think my advice is so easy too. I mean, in regards to like, it's pretty basic. It's like, I would tell you what to do and you'd be like, oh my God, I already know that I should do that, but I'm not doing it. It's like that. It's, it's stuff that people already know.
But you say that as if, I mean, you're humble. We know that. We know that's one of your beautiful gifts. But you say as if it's so simple, but it's actually years of education that you're bringing to other people. So I kind of want to back up.
True.
And, one of the things that's really important for people to know is that, is this proper for me to say, but Alyssa cured herself of cancer, right? Through holistic nutrition.
Right.
And I want you to kind of back people up to how you became like the Elissa Goodman and found your way from this healing from the inside out, but also just through education, like found your passion.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because just I'll cut to the chase because it's a long story, but
I
as a
love your
kid,
long stories.
as a kid growing up, I was never well. So I had like a low white blood cell count when I was born.
Mm,
My mom didn't breastfeed me. So you know how we know now that immunity builds up and all of that with breastfeeding. So I was always sick, always.
mm,
And physically tired and sick. And like, just if I didn't get enough sleep, I'd get sick. I was
yes.
one of those kids. And my household labeled me a sick kid. So I was, I kind of always thought I'm never going to be well. So most of
Mhm.
my life I was struggling physically. And
Interesting.
that also made me struggle emotionally. And we were talking earlier about I overcompensated entirely because I needed to keep up with everybody.
Yes.
And I also was in a very type A family. My parents were both movers and shakers. So as a teenager, even young adult, I couldn't even keep up with these older,
Interesting.
parents. And I was like, holy crap, what's
And were
wrong
they
with
aware
me?
of that?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay. That's
So nobody knew quite what to do, at those
okay,
days, in those
interesting.
days. I mean, they didn't know how to build immunity really. We didn't take vitamin D. I mean, there's so
Yes.
much that we didn't know, probiotics or gut stuff. I mean, I was always getting stomach aches. I just consistently got, mono a couple times and shingles and like every kind of illness, tonsillitis, strep throat, just on and on and on. So I moved to New York and worked the fast pace in the advertising world and was sick
That
all the
must have
time
been
there.
fun.
Yeah, it was very fun in my 20s. And then moved to LA and ended up, 6 months into LA getting diagnosed with cancer.
Mm.
And that's when I was like, holy shit, like life wasn't really going so smoothly for me at all.
So
And
give
when
me the time frame. Is this when you're in your 30s or is
32,
this okay? Wow. Okay.
I was 32, trying to have kids. I had 4 miscarriages and then got diagnosed with the cancer and, realized, wow, my life really is not working. Like, and I
Mhm.
knew, I already kind of, I knew in my instincts that I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel calm. I didn't feel, like I was doing things that I was passionate about.
Mm,
Everything was just a struggle. And I know women can really relate to that. And
absolutely.
so ever since then, I've been looking for that peace and that calm and that love for myself because one of the doctors that I saw in the 3 doctors that I saw when I had cancer, it's at St. John's, the one I really didn't want to go see. It was a friend of a friend. And he sat me down and he said, are you happy? Do you
Mm.
love what you do? All of the, do you
All
feel
the important
stressed?
questions that people
Important
think.
questions.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was like, wow, no one's ever asked me that. And I remember breaking down and hysterically crying. I'm like, I don't even know what happy is, or I don't even know what not being stressed is like.
Mhm.
So that was a huge wake up call. And he's like, we got to get your emotional well being, you got to start working on that. And that's when I went into therapy, started doing yoga, started reading every self help book on the market. And I just, LA was also a great place to
I'm like,
be.
it's the perfect place to be educated on those things.
It
You can find
was.
something for everyone.
Right. Right. And that's kind of like, so I that's how I was able to, heal myself. I did do a little radiation because my whole, support group was freaking out that I wasn't doing chemo and
Mhm.
all of that, but I did a little radiation. And because of the radiation, I got hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's too.
Interesting.
Afterwards. So then I went on to have two girls. I struggled with the hypo and Hashi. It took 4 years to get diagnosed. And that was also in those days, no one knew how to diagnose that. That is in remission at this point as well. But then I had two girls, and then my husband's diagnosed with cancer at 43 and a half. And he goes into a whole fight for his life, a year and a half with 2 bone marrow transplants, and passes away of fungal pneumonia at 45.
Wow.
So I have a 10 and a
Talk
7-year-old.
about the amount of stress on you.
It was just like
going from like that whole life cycle of your 30s and early 40s.
Yeah, it was rough. Like it was that early 30s, and even, it took about 2 years to come out of a fog after he passed away. And then one day, I was sitting having lunch with a friend, and she's like, what are you passionate about? I'm like, I really need to get healthy. Like I'm passionate about getting healthy, and I want my girls not to think that they're going to get cancer, because both their parents had cancer.
Oh, yes.
And I just,
that will be their deepest fear, right?
I was terrified of that. So there was this program that started in those days. It was called the Institute of Integrative Nutrition.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
City.
Yeah.
And you had to go to New York to actually participate in it. A couple of my friends had done it, and I didn't really have the time to be able to do that, being a single mom. So I did find a program in LA, and it was fabulous. It was a 2-year program, and I learned every kind of Eastern modality, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, all the herbal remedies, supplements, all the Western diets and modalities. And then I also learned about trauma and stress, and it was phenomenal. So I did that for 2 years, and I loved it. And that's kind of how it all like began. And then when I graduated, Cafe Gratitude, I had just come down from San Francisco to LA. The first one on large.
I love Cafe Gratitude. Who doesn't love Cafe Gratitude?
I know. It's
even
great.
If you're not vegan, you love Cafe Gratitude.
Right. And my girlfriend said, hey, will you put together a food program for us, a cleanse? And I knew nothing about cleansing. And that's sort of how it all started. I did that for about 4.5 years. But it was easy because their food is, it was cleansing, it was clean. And then a year into Cafe Gratitude, M Cafe asked me to do one for their macrobiotic. So I did a reset for them. And then I did something for Erewhon for about 6-7 months. And then, now I have a juice at Erewhon that is still there. And my bar is going to be there soon.
Oh, really? Oh gosh, I'm so excited. I love that bar.
I know, it's really fun. I love that store. And I was shopping there way before it became the Erewhon that it is. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Before we all decided that we want to eat dinner, lunch, and breakfast there every day.
Right.
If we can only afford it.
Or Instacart from there and have it be $300.
Exactly. For one thing, for your bar. No, just kidding.
But it's been, so I got into this cleansing kind of world, and I realized that, also in the early stages, how toxic we are, and, how like organs and are, build up with viruses and fungus and mold and heavy metals. And that all came to light very early on for me. And how I put myself into remission for Hashimoto's was working with a medical medium who's very much involved in that. He's a little cray-cray, but there's some things he does that are pretty brilliant. Yes. And he tapped into me and helped me get to the bottom of a lot of my issues. And I was able to.
Where is he located?
I think he's still in Florida.
Oh, okay.
He's definitely on the East Coast.
I definitely follow him. He doesn't come up on my feed as much as he used to. And so
same here.
Yeah, I wonder why, but I was super into the celery thing for a long time. So,
and the celery thing was really fascinating because, who was juicing straight celery ever? I mean, he's been doing that for 4 years. But when you think about it, celery is full of vitamins and minerals. And what it does, he talks about how it rebuilds hydrochloric acid and detoxes your liver and, all those things. But what I say it does, it lowers pathogen loads in your intestines, as well as it hydrates you like crazy, your organs, because of the minerals and the salts.
Yeah.
So people are so dehydrated. We have an epidemic of dehydration, cellular dehydration. So that celery juice, people their organs hadn't been so hydrated, so they weren't functioning that well. They weren't detoxing things out of their system. Their motility wasn't really working so well. All of those intestines weren't being flushed properly. The celery
Let me ask you a
juice.
question about the celery juice, because I was obsessive about it and actually would have the farmer deliver the big box of celery, and I was juicing it every day. But my question for you is, I feel like there's a huge difference between juicing it yourself and purchasing the celery juice in the stores.
Yes, there
Like
is.
I'm missing, like it doesn't taste the same, number one,
Right.
tastes bitter. And so I know, but it's so much work, right? It's not
Yeah.
that much work. It's about creating another habit, let's face it.
Right.
But
It is. I mean,
is
I've
it
been
different?
juicing. I've been juicing since I was diagnosed with cancer. There was a juice place down the street from where I lived when we moved here, and one juice place in LA. So, and I've been just intuitively attached to it. Like I just feel like getting cups of vegetables into me, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients is just like, liquid IV of
Absolutely.
just healthy, vibrant, and also flush actually flush my system, as well as getting, helping my blood and my cells get what they need. But the celery, when you buy stuff at the store that's been sitting on the shelf, I agree. I'm not sure it does exactly what it's supposed to. I hate to
That
say
makes me
that,
feel
but
better.
I
Because
feel like,
I've been thinking that, and because I'm like, either you buy it or you just don't do it. Because
yeah,
it's just, why are you wasting your money? Because I feel like it's not working, you know?
yeah, yeah. It could be, I just feel I'm a purist. So when you juice, you can retain some of those nutrients.
Hmm.
But when it's hanging out for a while, I don't know if you're retaining, then as many nutrients. But when you juice yourself and drink it right away, that's the ultimate.
Right?
And
Exactly.
I still am a little obsessed with it. I just do simple celery, cucumber, lemon, ginger now. I don't
Yes.
know why, I just love that because it's easy, and I always have that in the
I feel like
fridge.
it has like a kickstart to our system when we get the ginger zip
Yeah,
going.
it's
So,
great for immunity. The
yeah.
ginger and the lemon is great for alkalining and also lowering viral loads in the intestine. So I'm always focused on like the gut, very much so,
Mhm.
and the intestines, because I just see so many gut digestive issues in my practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me this. So you get into, basically you become the cleanse expert, right? In LA and beyond. I know you're not delivering your cleanses outside of LA right now, but you really become this expert. And tell me about that process, because this is also partially our audience is people that are looking to get into like starting their business but don't know how to get started. But in addition, they stop themselves because they feel like they're not an expert. So how did that process work? Did you ever feel like, and do you ever feel like at this point that you have like imposter syndrome?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, baby. I'm not a registered dietitian. I'm not a doctor, and I'm giving advice. So yeah, I do. I feel like um, it comes up a lot. And when you say expert, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
It kind of takes my breath
Like
away because
remember, I think I used actually, I didn't say expert. I said something else before we got on. I wanted to clarify. And then I was like, I saw your eyes and I thought, she doesn't like that word. It makes her feel it's too strong.
right, right. Yeah, because I did from experience, the experience of it all,
Mhm.
because, you know, I've been dabbling in this for a long time. I actually, my family was in business with Dr. Andrew Weil for years as well. And my mom was asthmatic, so would go to Rancho La Puerta in
Mm.
Tecate, Mexico. And so I kind of like dabbled in the health world because of not feeling good growing up as well. But and also the last 20 since I was 32 till now, almost 20 years. Oh my, wait, no, is that, yeah, that's so crazy.
Like
Longer.
it feels like yesterday.
Yeah. Woo. I have always experimented. Like I'm always reading and experimenting on myself to see what would work. And then also lately in the last 10 years on clients, like what really does work and what doesn't. And
You
from
know, the thing is, though, about imposter syndrome, and not to cut you off, is that I think no matter how many credentials you have, I think it's just about addressing the fear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then the reality is this, you would not be so successful if you weren't good at what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. You're right. If I didn't touch people in this way, in the way that they were looking for, you're right. I wouldn't have, I think the following or the clients that I do. I mean, I just want to educate people on, how important it is to go back to the basics, and first and foremost to really, especially women, honor who they are, love who they are, acknowledge, that they are important, that they are really special people. I just feel when I ask my clients when they get on the phone with me, do you love yourself? They're like, what? Like they don't, 99% say no.
That
Yeah.
hurts me.
And I think that if we can just get back in our heart and, and back in our bodies, really, because we're so out of body when we're talking about.
Absolutely. When we're talking about our frenetic nature.
Exactly. That's when we find what we're passionate about. That's when that's when it hits home, like, ooh, I'm good at this. I can do something with this. Like, yes, there's always going to be those roadblocks, like, where you get to that, the wall and you're like, oh, could I keep going? I'm not sure. But, when we get back in touch with ourselves and like love ourselves, I have found some of my friends and clients, it's no stopping them. They're on a mission, and it's pretty beautiful. I mean, it's not easy. Definitely. I can't say, wham, 1 minute, you're going to just love yourself and it's all going to be great. But the process is worth it.
Absolutely. I think that is, you're touching on something that's a big point for me, is really everything starts here, right? And with the love of yourself. And then if you're able to love yourself, then anything that you put forward just unravels in the way that it's meant to be. And I love that you start with asking your clients the question, do you love yourself? Because it's so fundamental. It's beautiful.
Right. Because, what we were talking about, our freneticness. I mean, when we don't love ourselves, we're out of body and, we're trying to overcompensate, which I did my whole entire life. I know it well. You're stressed, you're living in fight or flight, your adrenals and your cortisol levels are high, and, it throws your hormones off. I mean, it throws your blood sugar off, your insulin. I mean, your thyroid. I mean, everything goes wackadoodle. So, that when you calm down, and that's why I think meditation has become so popular.
Absolutely.
And breath work, right? And yoga it's gotten bigger. All those things have become more popular because we really need to, slow down, and we need to sleep, and
we need to listen.
Rest. And
we need that time to actually listen to our body versus pushing ourselves to keep going, right?
Yeah.
So I do have a question for you. Because you work with so many different kinds of clients, I'd love for you to give me a visual of like a client that you worked with that you basically took from, like, something that really transformed you, that you were like, wow, did I just help that person get to that point? I'd love to hear that, because it's always super fascinating for me, because that gives us a view into a snapshot of your life.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a hard one. Because there are so many, and there's so many different aspects of, because I deal with stage 4 cancer. I had a woman with fibroids that was, I mean, like 40 plus fibroids in her uterus, like, which, it was interesting when she went on an all raw, clean diet, the fibroids would shrink. And she didn't want to do surgery, and she was trying to avoid that. I mean, but she was trying to get pregnant. So that was a big one. And I actually ended up sending her to my energy healer. This is so LA. And because I was like, I think she needs surgery, but she doesn't want to do it. She's really adamant. She goes to see my energy healer, and the energy healer says, you got to do surgery. So she ends up, taking care of those fibroids and having 2 really beautiful, healthy boys afterwards. And, there's definitely, I think, also for people, a lot of women who have, the tire around the middle, and feeling lethargic and brain fog. And we have a lot of that. I have.
Is that hormones?
Doctors are looking at their blood tests and they're not doing a whole thyroid panel. And what's normal
Yeah,
and
they
what's
just do T3,
optimal,
T4. They don't really do a
yeah,
deeper, yeah.
right. What's normal and optimal is totally two different things in my book. So I'm looking at optimal, and that's so different from a general practitioner for thyroid. Plus, I'm also looking at antibodies for Hashimoto's, or blood sugar for me. Optimal is so different than what normal doctors do. So I took a woman who had, a TSH of 4.2, and the doctor's like, oh, it's normal, and a blood glucose level of 100, as normal. Well, I took her down to like 85 in the blood glucose, and then also down to 1.5 in thyroid. And she lost her weight. She was energized. It was like, it's, looking at the depth of the blood work and getting the right kind of blood work is crucial.
Yeah,
and
I
really,
think you mentioned something really important about the blood work, because people don't run the right panels. And it's not that their doctor's not doing a good job. It's just that you have to go to somebody specific to help you with specific needs. Like you wouldn't go to, a seamstress and, like have her basically sell the dress. She's making it, right?
right.
And so it's like people go to you because you can really delve into the details.
Yeah, I love reading blood work. And I also love doing nutrient deficiency tests on people so that I don't just load them up with supplements. That's what happens a lot too with doctors. Our functional doctors these days, they kind of pass on all these
A bunch
supplements.
of those supplements.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of money on that brand Thorn.
Yeah. Yes. And I love Thorn too. That's
Me
a great,
too.
thank God it's
They're
a high
amazing.
quality brand you got there. But yeah, I look at the nutrient deficiencies and really see what they're deficient in. So I had another one, that 18-year-old boy, that was fascinating. He had major anxiety, and he was on anxiety meds, and things weren't really working so well. The meds weren't working. We got his testosterone, his hormones checked. His testosterone was like that of an 80-year-old.
Wow.
I know, it was really unusual, and ended up putting him on some bioidentical testosterone, and his anxiety went away.
Wow.
So
That is
it's
amazing.
really fascinating, because who would have thought an 18-year-old to check their hormones?
I love that you're mentioning that, because especially where we live, by the way, the teen world, there's so many of them. It's an epidemic, of anxiety, whether that be to keep up, whether that be that they feel like they're falling behind, or whatever it might be. So the fact that you work with teens as well is really important for people to know, because I didn't know that. I thought you only worked with, another portion of the population.
No, I mean, I really, interestingly, the ones that I work with are really like open, to change. So that's what's fun too. And to get them early, that's the best of both worlds, rather than someone who's so programmed in their world and operating in a certain way. It's hard. Sometimes it's harder to change them, but
absolutely. Yeah. So when we talk about going back to, what is the ultimate goal? Like when people work with you, what is the ultimate goal? I mean, I know it's very personalized and each person is individual and stuff, but what creates that happiness for you?
Well, I really want people to feel happy in their life, to feel the calm and the peace, to feel motivation, to live a healthy life and a vibrant, thriving life. I don't want them to feel like, I'm getting older, so I'm gonna be, I'm gonna
settle into this.
Exactly. I'm going to have some brain fog. I'm, not going to sleep very well. I mean, I'm not going to have the energy that I did when I was 40. So I feel at 61 that I have more energy than I did when I was 40, and more, just more clarity, of course, on the world. But I just feel so energized and motivated, and I just want them to feel like me. Just I want them to get up in the morning and go, I'm ready. I like this life. I love this life, and hopefully choose as often as possible to eat healthy, not 100%, but 75, 80%. And then the other part, I'm the same way. I love to party. I love to
I mean, I asked you that before we got on the call. I'm like, wait,
uh,
you drink?
alcohol. Yeah. I love tequila. I love wine. I
I
do.
love it all.
I love it all. I enjoy cheese and pasta and pizza, all of it. I just, I want to enjoy life too. I love food.
It's
So
everything in moderation, right?
yeah.
So I love to ask this question, and I have heard you kind of mention some of them, but my question for you is, what are your top 5 core values? So I talk a lot about core values because it came up for me because you were talking about alignment. And for me, so much of alignment is understanding your core values, but living within them. So I was just curious to understand what yours are.
I would say my core values are, first of all, being honest with myself, like as much as I can, because I'm not always,
Yeah.
honesty,
Right.
just really being honest of where I am in my life and where I'm at each moment of the day too is huge. Also loving putting love out there in the world. I want to be able to express love even from a distance. That's huge for me. And also, I really want to be able to support, I'm there to support whoever comes into my world.
Mhm.
So I'd say honesty, love, support, and also I would say, also accepting people for who they are, or where they're at as well, because I'm definitely a type A perfectionist. And I do, get frustrated when things don't go as fast and
Exactly.
right. So it's really, I have to work on that one.
Wait,
To
when is
be
your birthday?
March 31st.
Oh, okay.
I'm an Aries. So I
Oh,
don't know.
that's why. Yeah, it's interesting. I have an Aries daughter. So
Oh, you do?
I'm a
So,
Libra.
oh, you're a Libra?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a hard one, except, being able to they're in a different place. I'm in a different place, and being able to help them wherever they are too.
Mhm.
So, um, are some of the things that I could think of. But
I would say also that serving is one of your biggest values.
yeah.
I think you probably always were. I mean, if before you even started this, I can imagine you're a giver,
Yeah.
as far as with your friends or whatever that might be, just knowing the little bit that I do know.
That's
Because
gotten me in trouble.
I was going to say that, but it's like a boundary thing at the same time.
Yeah.
How much do I give?
Yeah.
Where's the equitability?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And
So,
not expecting a lot in return. That was always a hard one. But
yeah, we can only control our own emotions, as we both know.
yeah.
So, of all the modalities that you've done, because you've tried a lot of really interesting things out there in this world, what would you say was the most impactful?
Oh, you really want to know the answer to that? I hope your readers are ready.
I really
I
want to
hope your
know.
listeners are ready. We talked about this earlier on. About 3 years ago, I had insomnia that came up. My dad was he got in an accident and he hurt his brain, and wasn't all there for about 6 years, and he got diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and he was really going downhill. He was really kind of my idol, and I was emotionally a mess, and with that, and I got really bad insomnia, and I realized that I had taken everything I knew holistically, even went the medical route. Nothing was working. It was
Mm,
wild. And one night I was like, oh my God, that was when the self-love came up. I realized that wasn't happening. And I was really hard on myself and all these things. And I, I did a journey. I did a psilocybin journey.
very cool.
And I basically, with a shaman who's a very, very good friend of mine and a private one. And it was the most incredible thing I've ever done in my entire life. I got to witness what calm really felt like,
Mm,
that my life was going to be okay, and
mhm.
that my girls were going to be okay. It kind of shows you, what you need to to really see.
Mhm.
And I got to witness so much in that journey that I started sleeping like that next
Wow.
week. I mean, it was really wild. And
Like
then
it was a process of letting go, or it
mhm, it was
allowed you to shed?
I was living fearful because I didn't know. I was looking over my shoulder, wondering what else is going to happen in my life. You know,
Mhm.
like I said, I was searching so desperately for that calm, and that it was going to be okay. It's one thing to tell yourself that, but it's another thing to feel it
Feel it.
viscerally.
Yeah. Mhm.
And also the calm. I had never felt that viscerally. For I mean, I
Mhm.
might visit it, but I didn't really feel it. So I felt that in the journey. I felt also I had this weird experience where I was flying around the United States was kind of dark, and I was
Mhm.
flying around with my little magic wand, and I was sprinkling it on houses because
Oh.
people weren't well, and
Mhm.
the houses were lighting up.
See, there
And
goes
so
that
then I
service
knew,
component of you. You're like a little
little
Tinkerbell,
fairy.
a fairy. That's beautiful.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm on the right path. Because I didn't know also like all this work, you know, that you're putting into this. And like, am I really doing the right thing here? Am I really helping people?
Is
Like,
this what I'm supposed to be doing? Mhm.
exactly. And when I saw all of that on the journey, I mean, not everyone's going to do a psilocybin journey. I know but it was so incredible and it changed my life forever.
So, is that a journey that you do like only when you're called to do it, or is that something that
Yes.
you do like once a year? Or okay,
Well, when you're called, yeah.
okay,
When you're called and it's not legal, so it's a bit
yeah.
funky. I mean, I think it's legal in maybe Oregon or something, but it's not legal here. I mean, they're doing a lot of studies um and like in terms of psilocybin at UCLA and all over the country. I mean, it really has helped people with trauma and
Aren't
PTSD
there
and anxiety.
doctors that actually like
Yeah,
they observe people like the small rooms, right? Like that people
yeah,
do it together,
they do.
but it's
And I
like
think there is one doctor in Santa Monica that is, I think, a medical doctor and also does it as
yeah.
well. I don't
I
know
know
who.
people that did it in San Francisco. So, but I also have heard how transformative it is.
Yeah.
So maybe one day.
I know
That
it's a
is one
little
thing I have not done yet.
right. I know it's a little bit
Sounds
odd.
amazing.
My girls were like, "What?" Like I never smoked pot in high school. You know, I was always like I was the anxious one, of course. So I really wasn't a
You were the one
druggie.
watching over everybody.
Yeah, and I always felt just, I didn't want to be out of control. And this was definitely scary at the beginning, but to the things that I learned and saw, and it just transformed my life in every way. And then it was interesting on that journey, I had all this energy that was pulsating.
Mhm.
And my shaman said, well, put the energy where it needs to go. And I put it right here on my
On your
thyroid.
throat. Mm. Your
And
throat
after
chakra.
that, I mean, it's not because of solely because of the journey, but after that, my thyroid numbers went back into alignment.
Wow, that's fascinating.
I mean, there were other things I was doing as well. I have a bovine thyroid supplement that I absolutely love, that doctors don't love because it's not regulated by the FDA,
Mhm.
whatever. But it has also helped tremendously. It's from New Zealand, but that was also, I think it was like releasing that, us women feel like we can't really speak our mind, and we, are
Absolutely. Well,
like,
that's what I thought was so interesting about you and I talked about that I have hypothyroid. When I found out that I had hypothyroid was after my second baby. And interestingly enough, when I left the corporate world and had my aura read, speaking to all the people out there that are like, what have you done?
yeah.
I my throat chakra was closed.
Hmm.
And so it's always been this sort of part of me who has always been, well, what's your truth? What are you not saying? And I think the thing is that a lot of people are always like, oh, you say everything that you're thinking. And I'm like, I do, but there's probably more, if you can imagine.
There always is. And also, also we do say it, but we kind of sometimes second guess what we're saying, right? I'm not sure if you do, but
Mhm.
a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
times, yeah. So we're still voicing it, but we're like, should we be saying that? And is that right?
You're
And
riding like a tightrope, and
yeah,
you're sort of like, well, if I dip my toe in here on this side, what will the response be? Okay, let me go on this side.
right.
And so, because you and I are both probably pleasers too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey,
It doesn't do
Whatever.
good things for the thyroid.
Work in progress. That's all I can say.
Always,
There you have it.
always, yeah, always work in progress. I know there's always something coming up that needs to be
Exactly.
taken
Well,
care of.
what I'd love to do, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, is just for you to tell us what's next at the Elissa Goodman brand, our big, beautiful brand of holistic nutrition. You have me wanting to sign up for my husband and I for our cleanse. Hopefully there's one next week.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
go
I mean,
ahead. Tell us.
right now we just started a new gut cleanse.
Oh, cool.
So recently, I mean, I've always been an activated charcoal girl, but every once in a while, if I'm sick or, I'm traveling, it's always a great thing because it can help with, depleting the bad bacteria in your gut. So we started this new gut cleanse, and I'm giving the cleansers an activated charcoal for 5 days to reset their gut, because one of the clients actually was having some insulin issues and glucose blood sugar issues with whatever they ate.
Mhm.
And so we did activated charcoal, and we were able to reset his gut and then load him up with probiotics, and his insulin didn't go up and his glucose didn't go up with what he was eating. So I was like, there's something here, because we all have bad bacteria in our gut, more so than we do good. So we're resetting
That's
their gut.
interesting to note that. I never
I
heard that.
know.
We have more bad bacteria in our gut than good. I never knew that.
We
Interesting.
do, just because over-the-counter medications, stress, the toxins in the food, air, water, just everything that we've been onslaughted with is, we definitely don't have enough good. Our guts are set from 0 to 7. So, if we were breastfed and we were eating probiotic foods or doing the right things and healthy, we probably would have a better, gut microbiome, but most of us weren't. And we did, and most of the time in those days they were taking a lot of antibiotics.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have an activated charcoal on the 5 days, and they were also
And are
doing
they running like nonstop? Because you usually have like set days.
3 weeks out of the month, but I think we're going to 4.
Oh, okay, good.
Probably going to be,
Yay.
yeah. So, and then we're doing a chia pudding instead of the bar, which is sad because I'm just trying to load them up with more fiber.
Mhm.
And then in the afternoon is sauerkraut.
Mhm.
So
Love sauerkraut.
and I added in the Mag-O-7. I don't know if you've heard of that, oxygenated magnesium, which actually helps clean out their intestines.
Mhm.
So people aren't getting bloated and don't have like disruptive stuff going on, because it's a lot of legumes and beans and also roughage, with the salads and all of that. So we're doing a new gut cleanse, working on the book, trying to get that going in
What's
terms
the
of,
next book about?
it's really about how I cleansed physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So it's all the modalities that I've done, what worked, what didn't work, just all the mistakes and the successes and failures.
Reliving your life story.
Yeah, live a little bit. Yes.
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
And it's, about how you can really, as you cleanse your world with, throughout everything, you can really thrive and be really vibrant and live, into your older years in a very healthy way. I just want that for everybody. I want people to be healthy and not have to live on meds and live at the doctor and be scared of life.
I mean, I have to say, it's really scary right now. It's very hard to find somebody who's not on some sort of medication.
I know. That's true. It is.
Well, at least here.
Yeah. And it's okay to be on it, but you actually should know how to counteract what the meds are doing, because any over-the-counter medication is going to be depleting your microbiome. It's also, can be, just maybe dehydrating you. There's synthetics and fillers in these medications. So, and you could be depleting you of vitamins and minerals. So if you are on the meds, it's good to know how to just balance it all.
Absolutely. Well, I think that, again, hence why they need to call you.
You're so cute.
So okay, we have
fun.
the gut cleanse. We have, is there a regular cleanse too, or is it just gut cleanse? Okay, we're
regular cleanse, gut cleanse. We're switching up the menu. We always do it 4 times a year. We switch up the soups and the salads.
Could be seasonal
food. It's all organic, as you know. Yeah, the bars are going to be going into Erewhon. Yeah, I would love to figure out how to get this cleanse outside of LA. That probably is the next move, is like how to penetrate even the LA market more, because we only do 70 cleansers. We don't do like, and so probably that's the next move, is trying to figure out
How to make it larger,
Yeah.
economies of scale. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get you there because I believe in you.
I think you could. I know. I believe in you too.
It's gonna happen. So anyways, I am so grateful for your time, and I could listen to you all day, because this is like you're speaking my speak, and I love to figure out how I could look like you at 61. I'd like to figure out how I could look like you at 52. So
You do. You
oh,
look great.
so sweet.
See, you gotta, you look amazing. So
well, thank you. I love you. Okay, so tell them where they can find you on Instagram, your website, all that.
it's just at Elissa Goodman, ELISSA Goodman.com, Instagram as well. Just those two that I'm on. And every week I do a newsletter, and I do a new recipe, and I also do nutritional advice every week as well.
And she has great lives too.
I have to get back on that. I
You
remember
know,
how
it's so funny that you
interview.
say that. I
I
have been thinking the same thing, because I've been watching people go live again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I used to be into that.
I know I was too, but then I fell out of it.
But it's okay. It's because we were doing it so much.
Yeah.
And as we get off the phone, I need to talk to you about Rancho La Puerta, because I've got an idea. So Okay, and I just want to thank all of our listeners today for tuning in to Elissa Goodman. Again, just like she said, it's going to be okay, and she wants everybody to be okay. That's what Opportunity Knocks is. It's all going to be okay. It is all about our female entrepreneurs and how they are going to take, make, create, and evaluate opportunity. We all have choice, and I believe in you. Have a great day.